you somehow don't know, I have recently started building a brand new studio-style theme park in the hit theme park and water park simulator Planet Coaster 2. And so far, I have started 1 out of 5 different worlds in this park. The Formula 1 area with an Intamin drift coaster that duels with itself, with the trains themselves going through various turns and inversions through the trees and even through the racetrack and through the pit building, all in one coaster. I was pretty happy with how it came out as a base product, because in this episode, not only are we going to be adding a few more rides to the area, including a small junior coaster this time, but I'm also going to name everything that hasn't been named so far and show you what the big dark ride is going to be like. So be sure to watch till the end so you can see the full walkthrough of the area so far without the big dark ride we're planning, and be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future episodes, because there's going to be so much more to come. And as you can see, there's already so many new rides coming as well. Welcome to episode 4 of Discovery Studios. Of course, the first 2 episodes we spent building that front entrance area and the main sort of hub that now has a name, which we'll talk about later. And in the 3rd episode, last episode, we actually started the brand new first area in the park, the Formula 1 area. And we're continuing that today through building a few different rides. The reason for that, I was actually going to finish the entire main coaster we have here, the Intamin Drift. I was going to finish that in this episode and then start the dark ride, and then in the next episode we would do the entire dark ride. I'm kind of not in the country when I'm releasing this video. I'm actually in Florida, yes, finally going back to Florida, going to experience all the different rides there, so many bucket list ones, and we'll talk more about that later. But because I'm away, I can't really do an episode with an in-depth amount of theming and detailing on that coaster, because once again, like the previous series, I don't want to rush these episodes out. So what I've decided to do instead is base this episode purely on some of the stuff I have done to the coaster and these brand new rides in this family sort of flat ride section over here, and of course that junior coaster as well. But a slightly different episode, still just as important, because you've got all of these different rides going, and you can see already the Zamperla disco I've decided to put in because, well, the main thing about this area, right, is of course Formula 1. Obviously. But as much as it might seem that the only thing that sport is based on is just racing and that's all we can really base rides off, there's a lot of mechanical sort of engineering side to it that I feel could really be represented in some of these rides, which is why that disco right there and this whirlpool style ride here are going to be sort of engine based, more like gears and cogs and stuff. And then in that little corner there that I just put a little bit of pathway in, we're going to have another flat ride, but that one's going to be custom, and a little bit of a throwback to Isle of Discovery there, because I actually built a custom flat ride in that, and it's the exact same version, just with a different theme. But yes, as I said, not the episode I was hoping for. I was hoping to actually sort of finish the coaster, show you a POV afterwards, and upload that separately, because I'm going to be doing that from now on, and I was just going to enjoy making the pit building, everything like that. But as said, do not want to rush it, because there's nothing worse than rushing a build that you want to spend loads of time on and then releasing an episode and it being really, really pathetic and looking awful. So I wanted to make sure I have the time to do that. So next week there might not be an episode, but the week after there should be one. As you can see, making a small building over here just to make the sort of background behind the barriers when you're on the coaster and in the area in general just look a little bit nicer than they already do. Of course, you've got a lot of trees and bushes and stuff, but there needs to be some buildings in there just to flesh it out a bit. So I decided to put one here. There'll be a couple more around the area as well. And just using the aquatic pieces, these have been very useful. It's sort of, in a way, turning into a little bit of a steampunky area because of those gears and the sort of cogs and all these machinery pieces. When I did actually start building with these pieces, I did sort of feel like I was building a steampunk area, which was kind of cool. But we're obviously not having any themes like that. No, I guess they're not generic themes, but no just plain themes without any story, because these are all based on IPs in this park. There's going to be no just casual theming. Not until the next park anyway, if I decide to do that for that. More pieces going in on that building. I don't want to talk about the future too much. We've just started this brand new park. What am I on about? More trees around that too. And as you can see, actually, there's a pathway to the right of that building that goes into the grandstand. Yes, I managed to get the grandstand to actually have people walk onto it, so even when you're in sort of the first person view on the ground, you can only walk on pathways, you will still be able to walk on that grandstand. I managed to hide the pathways quite nicely, and it goes up it, and you can sit down if you really want to and enjoy the view of the 2 coasters. I always say 2 coasters, it's 1 coaster launching together. I always make that mistake. I think it's because my original plan was to build a dueling coaster, and then obviously, if you missed the last episode, you should probably go and watch it because you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. But the Intamin Drift in the background is just 1 coaster, and I wanted to make it dual with itself just to make it a little bit more challenging and something a little bit more fun. And yeah, I managed to do that quite well, I think. Anyway, you guys might have thought different, I don't know. That first episode hasn't even released yet of us building that when I'm talking about this, which is quite funny. But as you can see, I'm placing loads of trees down. I've decided to keep this in because I had a few comments on the first and second episode saying that you quite enjoy the tree and rock placing. And technically this is the ride area and a bit of theming for the ride as you swoop through them. So I thought I'd keep this bit in. And also, as you can see, there's just more of this road and sort of racetrack looking stuff around. You've even got the Pirelli logos on the signs. Those were all custom made. Again, I did mention last time I was going to make them out of small pieces, and I wouldn't show you the hassle of doing that because it was going to be such a long process, but I managed to actually get it pretty decent, I feel, and I'm placing them along the boards. As you can see, there's another one which is based on a funnily enough, it's a play on my name on YouTube, DigitalDan, but at the same time it is actually a real electronics company in GTA 5 called DigitalDan. So I put some of those advertisements around, a little bit different there, why not? And then I need some more advertisements around the actual coaster itself. So if you have any ideas, leave them in the comments. But talking of ideas that have been left in the comments, this episode is the big one. We are going to be revealing a lot of different names for different things around the park so far, such as the shops towards the entrance. Of course, they're not too major. The actual area as you walk in itself. And then through that, you of course enter into the Celestial Park, very much inspired from Epic Universe, like very much so. That area has a name as well. So we're going to go through all of them, and then we're going to head into this area to show you what I've done so far. And then I'm going to talk about, there's a lot of and thens because there's a lot happening. I'm going to talk through the huge dark ride that's going to be on the further away side of this area. Talk to you about what it's going to be, what ride I'm going to sort of base it on, if that makes sense, because as much as there are a few of this ride type in the world, I don't think any of them really come close to the same sort of vibe I want to get than the one I'm going to talk about. So yes, stay tuned for that when we go into real time. But as you can see, just giving some more cogs and some theming to this. Nothing special with these rides, you know, just some nice simple family rides that you can sort of walk into this area. I really like how you go into the portal and you sort of see this huge coaster and this, you're going to see this huge pit building in front of you, and then you will turn right, loop all the way around this coaster, maybe even see the start finish straight, and then go towards the family area where you've got all these flat rides. And another one's coming up right now, as you can see here. I'm deciding to build one very much inspired from Ferrari Land at Portaventura, which has a lot of kiddie flat rides in one separate area, and they're Formula 1 based. But they're Ferrari based, so technically this isn't copying. I thought this idea anyway, and I realised that's the thing as well. So here we go then. You can see a trophy in the middle, and this ride is going to be very similar to the Jungle Ranger roundabout that existed in Isle of Discovery, where it's not actually a functional ride, but it's a custom ride where you'll sit in these cars around the outside and it will just spin round, you know, nothing too special. Just a nice little spinning car ride, and of course have to have the Formula 1 cars in there as well. I was originally going to make another F1 car that can seat like 4 people, but I thought this ride doesn't work anyway, so I might as well just stick to the original, because again, being careful with the piece count just to be sure. And as you can see, the Formula 1 cars, putting them all in, you've got a McLaren there, followed by a Visa Cash App Racing Bull. Yep, that's what that team's called. A Mercedes right here. And then, yeah, I want to try and represent all the teams at some point in the area, because obviously I am a big F1 fan. And I know a lot of you guys are as well, which is really cool. I love the response to when I first started this area. When I first revealed it, sorry. And there you go. Got a Williams and an Aston Martin as well, and of course a Ferrari spinning round. I feel like the red Ferrari. I know it's red and white, not red and yellow, but they seem to put a lot of white on their car nowadays. I feel if anyone were to look at Formula 1 and think, what's a team in that, or what does a car look like from Formula 1, they would draw a red Ferrari. Like, it's just gonna happen. So I decided to make that sort of the main car. You can see at the front of the actual area as well how there's a red car really high up in the sky. And then here we go, the queue line going in for this now. Yeah, I just thought the red car looks really nice as well, so why not do that? Yeah, had some issues with the pathing there, but we got through it in the end. And as you can see, going really close to the coaster. One thing I haven't mentioned yet, and you might have been able to see it occasionally when the coaster does go past, is the fact I have made a custom train. Now, the reason I didn't film the actual building process of that is because I think that footage, even sped up to the amount that I speed these up, would have been about 400 years long. Because it took me so long to try and get it even remotely correct. I mean, it's not perfect right now. Like, if you view the actual POV in the second row, you are just staring at a rear wing, and you can't even view front bumper cam on the front car because it is just pieces in front of it, which is a shame. But you can view it in the front car as just a seated cam, and it does look as smooth as ever, as you saw last time, I guess. And you're going to see in the final finished POV in a week or two. But yeah, put some more trees in. Yeah, you've got the train with that sort of red, the Red Bull afterwards as well. Red, red, red. And then the McLaren. And I believe the Mercedes at the back. Yes, that's what I put on there. More tyres. And yeah, they're just made out of various pieces from, again, the Formula 1 car sort of train that's in the game that you can detach. And then they added the pieces separately so I can then put them on the train and make it look a bit different. And it was obviously quite hard to get the front of the actual car correct because the car seats one person, that one had to seat four. You see what I mean? And again, I know I could port over this to actually make that what this little spinny car ride is, but I think it looks cooler with the actual cars there as well. Definitely didn't just think of that now, and now I kind of want to go in and try that. But here we go, a little cover going in, same as the grandstand has. And yeah, it's just, I'm really enjoying, I know I said this last time, well, I haven't released that video, but you might have watched it. Episode 3, I remember saying in that I really have enjoyed building a different park that's not my own themes, or it's not actually sort of like a base theme in the game, such as your, I don't know, Viking, Greek. It's nothing like that. Even like Fairy Tale and Pirates, now that's in the game. Nothing like that. I have really enjoyed building something that's just not in the game and trying to make it look like it is with all the pieces and stuff. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Hopefully the next 4 areas are going to be just as good. I know the next one coming up is going to be probably a lot of people's favorite ones that I'm going to do. So I hope you enjoy that, and I'm really going to enjoy building it as well. So I mean, the new DLC as well, that's going to help with that. I think yes, it is. Yeah, I'm releasing this after that has been announced. Yes, I can't wait for that. It's going to be so good. I really can't wait for that sidecar model, and also that swing launch on the Intamin Blitz. That has to be in this park somewhere. It has to be. I wasn't planning for it to be because I was not expecting that to come out, but I'm definitely planning on having that somewhere in this park as well. Bit of the station for the coaster going in. Thought I'd do a little bit of like the maintenance bay work on this as well, just because, you know, it's sort of nice stuff that you can do pretty easily, getting a base sort of look at what that station could be like, and then obviously we're going to detail it on the outside and inside. I'm feeling like the inside of that station will just be a very like nicely lit red and black station with like the Formula 1 stripes of the actual logo. As you go out, maybe they'll start pulsing or something, I don't know. I feel like it needs to not link to like a pit building or anything, because you're going to fly through that when you're on the ride. It needs to be its own separate building. So yeah, going to have to work out how to do that one, but that'll be really fun to do. More bushes, more trees. As you can see, this section here, again, you've got sort of the track going around the outside of this bit, so you do dip in and over the track. I mean, that section there on the left, I'm going to put like a bridge over like you see on most racetracks. And then you've got some custom supports. I actually made some custom supports over there that I'm just porting over to make my life a bit easier, because they do look pretty decent. Because that section doesn't like being supported for some reason. Even if I remove the terrain, it just, no supports, even though track supports are on for it. But, you know, whatever floats your boat. And then we move over to here, which I'm going to just put a little bit more of the curb in. And over here is where we're going to have the junior coaster. I'm just going to put some seating down after I mess the terrain up and put more rocks and stuff. But there's going to be some seating, followed by another barrier just to give it some depth, so it's not all just barrier, barrier, barrier. It'll have some seating on the grass instead as well, so not even tarmac here. And then you'll be able to view off into the distance on the junior coaster, which I kind of wish I waited for because it could have been a Vekoma junior one. But I guess we'll have to deal with the weird launched one I've made. Or that I am making, if you want to word it like that. Because right now, as you can see, I'm doing nothing. There we go. Oh, okay. I was just going to say, I was just completely stalled out then. As you can see, I am building a brand new roller coaster for the area. Now, this isn't a major one like the main one we have, because that is, of course, dueling. You're racing each other. There's some inversions in there. This is just a junior coaster, just sort of a bog standard one with a launch right at the start, very much based on your sort of, I don't know, Pegasus Express at Park Asterix, which is quite funny because I have just realised in my head, Isle of Discovery's second roller coaster was based on that same coaster, and this is the second coaster in Discovery Studios, and it's based on the same thing. But this is totally different because this doesn't have drop tracks and backward sections. This is purely just a launch into a layout and done. It's nothing special. No like insane storyline either. Like you're not racing against anyone. It's not sort of like a test drive. That's sort of just giving away what the plan is for the big dark ride in the area. But this is purely maybe just like a Formula 2 style coaster, like just sort of the feeder series, which of course does exist in real life. If you didn't know, there is actually an F4, F3, F2 and F1. So I guess this could be the feeder series into Formula 1 and the sort of like junior academy style roller coaster to get into that. There's so many possibilities for this, but it'll be nothing major. It could even just be like a time trial, a little like go-kart style thing. I don't know, it can be anything. So if you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments, both a name for this coaster and also if there is like a basic storyline you think it could follow, then please do let me know, because that's the thing. Next episode is the final episode of the Formula 1 area. Now I know you might not have seen the teaser originally when I started teasing up towards this series. This series is going to be 20 episodes long. This is now the 4th episode already, so I'm trying to do each area for only 3 or 4 episodes at a maximum. Maybe one might even be just 2 episodes, I don't know. I feel like that's best for this series, not to long it out too much. So I'm going to theme this up and show you a little bit of that in the next episode, along with finishing that main coaster and building that dark ride, which I guess we can talk about whilst I do the queue line here, which again, much like the other coaster in the area, I have made the queue line go under and sort of really close to the actual roller coaster track, which will also be really close to the fake racetrack version of it, and then you will also sort of go around it, see loads of cars, and it'll be really cool. Not as cool as the major coaster will be, but you will see that come to life in the next episode, because yes, that dark ride is the main thing we're focusing on then. What is it going to be? Well, it's not your typical dark ride. I've said this already. It won't be like an Omni Mover or a trackless dark ride. What it's going to be is actually a ride system that isn't in the game, so I'm going to have to make it myself, and it's going to be really fun to do that. But it's a sort of ride system, I don't know if it's created by them, but I've only seen it at Walt Disney World parks. And there's only a couple of them in existence, and one of them at Epcot specifically in Walt Disney World is definitely the inspiration for the dark ride coming very soon. And we're going to go into real time and I'm going to show you all of what's happened so far. And we are here in Discovery Studios. Look at the sign. It's almost like you've never seen it before, even though you have. And as we walk into the park, as you can see on the left-hand side, because I usually walk through the middle gate, let's give these two sides a bit of love. You can see on the left-hand side, the Wrapped Up Gift Shop, and that was a name suggested by Benjamin0265. So thank you for that name. That is the main area's shop name now. And as we walk through Studio 2, through the doors, as you can see, oh, look at us go. We have on our right the Starlight Store, the main gift shop in this building. That was suggested by Jasper E7M. And opposite is the Mediterranean restaurant called Cucina della Scoperta, which actually means Discovery Kitchen or Discovery Cuisine in Italian. which is quite cool. A name suggested by the Cronin fam. Thank you very much to those two for those names. As we walk into the main plaza area, this area won't have a name until towards the end of the series, I think, because then we can sort of get a grasp of what it's going to look like. So we'll leave this for now. And we have reached the Formula 1 portal on our right, and we're going to head straight through over the checkered flag line and into the area. Look at this. The coaster coming. God, that was perfect timing, wasn't it? And you can even see the coaster dueling with itself under the start-finish straight, and I've actually replaced the yellow with the black and put the Formula 1 logo up instead of Pirelli because there was too much of that. And after those launches, you'll head over this way and sort of on the pathways around it. Got this nice eatery section here, which needs a name, so if you have any name suggestions for that, please do put them in the comments. And we're going to head under this lovely dueling element here in this overbank towards the more rides that we've built in this episode. You can see in the background, it's twisting, and oh, look at these views, man. The views of this coaster around this area are going to be great, especially when we've got that dark ride going in behind us as well, because yeah, you can get really close to it here near the barriers, and then we head round into the section where the smaller family rides are. The first one being this Zamperla Nebulaz, and of course these aren't the highest capacity rides, but they look really visually impressive, and especially when we've got the sort of gear machinery sort of theme going on, I think it is perfect. I love the view of that so much. Even over here, we're going to quickly go between that ride and the next one and head up into the grandstand. When I built this in the last episode, as you can see, we can walk up it, have a nice seat, view the coasters going past. Coaster, I keep getting it wrong, it's not two coasters. Make our way back into the main ride area, and you've got this weird whirlpool ride over here, which is just spinning round and round, and again, machinery based. If you have any name suggestions, please leave them below. And for the third time, that can also be said for this little ride over here. You've got like the nice trophy on the top as well, and yeah, it's spinning round all the different F1 cars. Oh, how many of them can you name, eh? In that area as well, there's a little eatery over here with these snack walls. Those things exist at a lot of Dutch theme parks, and it's the best thing ever. There's not exactly very healthy snacks, but oh, it's great, so I'm having them in this park. And as we continue walking around, you've got a nice little seating area on the grass. We can just sit down and stare at rocks, and also stare off into the distance at this junior coaster here. I'm not going to ride it in this episode purely because there is nothing round it, and it's not exactly the most innovative ride ever, so I think the theming will definitely play the biggest part in making this ride feel whole, and I want to show you that when that theming is all complete. So as you can see, spiraling round, yeah, just a simple junior coaster, you know, nothing too special, but it does the job. And so far, the area is looking great. The middle section is pretty much complete now, other than a few buildings. The outside needs a lot of work, and this section over here, this is where the dark ride's going to go. And I'm going to tell you exactly what that's going to be right now. So you know when I said it was going to be inspired by something at Walt Disney World, imagine Test Track, the brand new version of it, or just Test Track in general with the car. You sit in it and you go around, and it's sort of like testing the capabilities of the car, and then you speed along at the end and go through a track. That's what that is going to be. And like I said, it's not in the game, so I'm going to have to do something innovative with it. So subscribe so you don't miss the next episode to see what I do with that, and so you don't miss any future episodes after, because it's going to get even more exciting from this point onwards. See you next time.